concentrate of hormone known. A hormone that retards aging. This works in humans. It's kept a woman living more than twice her normal span of life. She's 152 years old. Where did she get this? A plant that comes from Africa. Africa. Now, she also mentioned another substance, which when mixed with this, will actually make old people young again. Slants the pineal gland deep in the cerebellum. Slants the pineal gland deep in the cerebellum. He's adding the pineal hormone to the ninth day. Pineal hormone to the ninth day.
As I promised.
How do we know you're Mala?
Do you remember the mark of the Arab slaver that I showed you in your office?
Mala, you've got to help me take your secret back to the States.
It is the one secret that will never leave my people. When I die, you too shall die.
Take your hands up.
Help me.
June, don't touch me.
Give me the night piece.
Touch me.
I want the night piece.
June, get
Give me the night piece.
Get away from it.
On 7/7, a 77-minute film released in 1960 called The Leech Woman. 7/7/1960 just so happened to be the 188th day of the year, with 177 remaining in the year. And this film was all about epinephrine, adrenochrome harvest of the pineal gland. Now this is interesting because there is a link between epinephrine and the pineal gland. You see, they've known about this for a very long time, even long before 1960. We see all the usual characters. Mala, which plays Malik or Moloch, and the Nipe, N-I-P-E, which is the reverse form of the word epin, which is the first four letters in the word epinephrine, which also encodes the word pineal. It's all there. So is there a link between adrenochrome and the pineal gland? Uninformed people keep trying to correct me when I link the pineal gland to adrenochrome. But here are the facts. Adrenochrome is a byproduct of epinephrine, and according to this study and a few others, increased stress or fear causes the adrenal glands to flood the pineal gland with adrenaline, which is epinephrine, that degrades into adrenochrome. The pineal gland even produces its own small amount of adrenaline. Now, it's widely known that the pineal gland produces melatonin. So if one were to harvest the pineal gland at the height of fear and stress, they would get the melatonin and adrenochrome of the frightened victim all in one dose, which is exactly what we saw depicted in this film, The Leech Woman. Take care and be safe, you guys.
You're going in there because we need this. Our city is counting on you to collect those children's screams. Without Scream, we have no power. Hey, morning, kids. How you doing? Hey, morning, kids. How you doing? Now, give us a big, loud roar. Mr. Waternoose, there's no time for this. Come on, what are you waiting for? Roar! But sir... Roar! Times have changed. Scaring isn't enough anymore. But kidnapping children? I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die.
I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die.
What was that? You're trying to scare the kid, not lull it to sleep.
I was going for a snake/ninja approach.
Trying to scare the kid, not lull it to sleep. I was going for a snake/ninja approach.
This is the adrenochrome molecule. And this is a soccer ball. This is the adrenochrome molecule in Monsters, Inc. Now, oxidized adrenochrome is epinephrine, produced by the adrenal glands when a person experiences fear. The same kind of fear in Monsters, Inc. in which monsters scare little children by going through doors at night when the child is asleep and scaring the child. And in turn, it yields the substance. And I believe the substance they are depicting is, in fact, adrenochrome. And I believe demons feed off this fear. You know, the adrenochrome comes from the adrenal glands, which sit atop the kidneys. Kids. And this is repeated over and over again in Monsters, Inc. The kids. And studies show that the pineal gland is directly affected by the release of epinephrine from the adrenal glands. And the pineal gland is affected by adrenaline / adrenochrome by the adrenal glands. And isn't it weird that the hormone epinephrine contains the word pine, like the pineal gland? Now, we also see fruit mentioned over and over again, shown in the film Monsters, Inc.
I hear somebody's close to breaking the all-time scare record.
Just trying to make sure there's enough scream to go around.
Hey, other house! Hey, thanks!
Nazi!
Bada bing!
And we know that children to pedophiles represent fine art. We also know that they store children underground.
Oh, great.
So now the truth emerges. These vampires are feeding off of our fear. And part of that fear is subliminal disclosure, which is everything that we are experiencing and realizing right now with decodes like this, that they have subliminally been traumatizing us through the memory of past events and triggering all those survivors through these films. In fact, at Monsters, Inc., work starts on the eastern seaboard with the hands of the clock on the 9 and the 11. Now we know about the event of Blind 11, which is what I have to call it. And I'm just in shock that people aren't putting that together. People are asking, what does Blind 11 mean? And it's because we're so asleep. This film had completed months and months before the event would happen, even though it released a few months after the event. Now I want you to notice the scare attack that they have in this film, Monsters, Inc., includes South America, Chile to be specific. Well, something very interesting happened on Blind 11, the event, in 1973 in Chile. Now, 1973 was the year that the World Trade Center opened, which is, I have to use coded language again because we can't say that on YouTube anymore. And in the year of 1973 when it opened, there was a regime change on Blind 11 in Chile, in which the CIA overturned the government there. Oh, but there's more. Why are there 2 pizza boxes in the bedroom
It's empty.
while the little girl is sleeping in his
No
bed?
monster in here. Well, now there is, but I'm not going to scare you.
People are following me, going through my things, shooting words into my head.
Who? Who was following you?
All of them, the judge, the DA, my mom.
These tissues can go to pathology, These tissues can go to pathology.
Like Dad, everyone, everybody. Once they deem you a danger to yourself, it's basically a free-for-all.
Lungs, 1,100 grams.
Kidneys, 780, 620.
Targeted individuals, kidneys, adrenal glands. What you're looking at here is shots from the film Coma.
I think they're getting $75,000 for it. Yeah, it was a bad match on tissue typing.
Well, the kidney's a 4-tissue match, and it's in perfect condition.
You get 200 grand for that. It's going to Texas, some millionaire son. Good old George has the connections.
So far, George is doing fine. What about the other kidney?
Yeah, they're putting it up for bids. I'll get 100 for it.
And this is all about organ harvesting, as these people are basically put into a coma on a purpose using carbon dioxide gas while they're under anesthesia, and then they're sent to this facility where their organs are harvested. This is what this becomes all about for these people, and this is big money. You think this is only going on in foreign countries?
Left kidney, 2 hours old, ready to ship. It's a 4367, a 31-year-old male. The bidding now stands at 42.5.
Tell Jerry Caesar he's out of business.
But there's one thing that never changes. The face of crime. It just gets bigger and badder and uglier every day.
Frank quit. Bought a goat farm. Moved to Ukiah.
Every man has a dream to chase. Frank's was that goat farm. Captain Gannon had assigned me to investigate the so-called pagan robberies, a pattern of serial crimes which had occurred throughout the city.
Howdy, I'm Emil Muzz and I'm a pagan.
Good evening, pagans. Don't forget your goat leggings.
I'd say this is shaping up to be a little more than just a series of simple robberies. People against goodness and normalcy. You have to admire their techniques in crowd control.
Tonight, a pristine virgin in a gown of white.
Yeah. Cozy little group, eh? Just like your local Rotarians.
Evil bringeth here our plea.
An illegal drug lab, grotesquely disguised as a legitimate place of business.
She's as pure as she can be, white and clean as driven snow.
Up a little late tonight, aren't we, kids?
Up a little late tonight, aren't we, kids?
And on a school night, too.
Moloch, milk, pure and white. The milk has always represented the missing children. In dairy farms, the calf is removed from the mother. It goes missing. We know that the root word of Molech is MLK, milk, and we know that milk is linked back to human sacrifice. Here is the movie Dragnet, with all of the facts hiding in plain sight.
You see yourself going down in history, mister? Pagan, a reverend, devil, or angel?
Why both, of course.
Why both, of course.
One can't exist without the other. Without the Jerry Caesars, there'd be no moral outrage. One can't exist without the other.
One can't exist without the other.
Without the Jerry Caesars, there'd be no moral outrage. And what's the good of moral outrage unless you have something tangible to direct it against?
And there they just outlined exactly the Hegelian dialect. Create both sides of the argument and have the people warring against one another. This was the entire theme behind Blind 11. And here we see 14 years exactly before the event would happen in 1987, Dragnet released. N is the 14th letter of the alphabet. 8 plus 3 is 11. There's your 611, and TC stands for Trade Center.
And I'll control both sides of the equation.
And I'll control both sides of the equation.
Q Drop 521. I think this is very relevant today, especially since we keep having a lot of 2-year deltas. Actually, if you go back, a lot of the posts from 2 years ago seem to be lining up with this moment in history. But they reiterate that we're fighting for life. We are fighting for good. Say we're at war. They are at war right now. Not everything will be clean. And then it says here, scare, a necessary event. Do you trust the U.S. military? Do you trust the chain of command? Now, yes, I do trust the U.S. military. And Q said early on, what is the one organization that has not been corrupted? Now, yes, they've been used for corrupt means, but how many people do you know that have joined the FBI? How many people you know have joined the CIA, have joined all these different things? No, and I know a ton of people have joined the military. The military is mostly comprised of all our friends and family and normal-ass Americans who literally just want to fight for the protection of this country. And they are, right now. So have faith. We are in control. Patriots. Patriots Day. Now, Patriots Day this year, I believe, is April 19th. So it's about a month away. I'm hoping that means things will start tapering off by then. And I personally have a lot of faith. And it says right here, you were chosen for a reason. Being provided the highest level of intel to ever be dropped publicly in the history of the world. Use it. Protect and comfort those around you. Where we go one, we go all. And that's why I see lots of love. I see lots of people having very rational thoughts on this. You know, be safe, be prepared, minimize efforts to spread it. We got to stop this in its tracks right now. But this is war. This is the war of all wars. This is the first real war in a long time. Did anyone think it was going to be easy? I sure as crap didn't. I know a lot of you guys didn't either. But what is a war? Moves and counter moves. Now we know right here that they ran a simulation of this a friggin' couple months before it came out called Event 201, which... Agenda 21, Event 21. What's Agenda 21? It's a program that wishes to reduce the world population. You can look right here. Who sponsored this? You know, the usual suspects. One thing I forgot to mention in my last video, Bloomberg School of Public Health. Is that why he ran? I mean, it sure as crap never had a chance. Everyone knew he never had a chance. He obviously ran to pump up the pressure. None of his ads, they were barely about him. They weren't attacking his opponents on the Democratic side. They were all just straight up attacks on Trump. So this guy just came in as a way to infuse money. Obviously, he has a lot to lose with Trump being in office. That he was a part of this Event 201 that simulated exactly what's going on right now. You can see it in my 2 videos ago. Go check it out. And look, here's this type of stuff that you got on Bloomberg TV. Marina Abramovic standing on piles of bones. You know, this was an art exhibit to illustrate the war in her home country. But this is disgusting. And if you watch this, people were saying that. You could smell the exhibit. I'm just saying, these are cow bones. You know, according to Bloomberg's organization, she's a relentless, violent genius. Yeah, violent, all right. Now does it make sense why Bloomberg put $500 million, $500 million? That's enough money to give everyone in the whole country $1.50. Or, you know, according to MSNBC, $1 million.
Somebody tweeted recently that actually with the money he spent, he could have given every American $1 million.
I've got it. Let's put it up on the screen. When I read it,
Tonight on social media, it kind of all became clear. Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population, 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math. He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true. It's disturbing. It does suggest, what we're talking about here, which is there's too much money in politics.
Guys, they were only off by $999,000, right? Give them a break, for crying out loud. But $500 million when you don't even got a shot? There's a lot more going on here, right? This is, to them, they're at war right now. For me, I felt like the storm, I've said in past videos, was going to come probably sometime in the second term and even probably go past that. That's when he's a lame duck president. He's freed up a lot more, and that's when presidents usually get to do a lot more of what they wanted to do. But I think this coronavirus forced their hand, and in this video, I'm going to tell you why I think the storm is right now. Here are just some of the things that have been happening. March 13th, Homeland Security just arrested a whole bunch of MS-13. In fact, it led to the indictment of 17 MS-13 members. The next day, March 14th, 5 defendants convicted of sex trafficking of minors, amongst a whole other slew of things. You have Lev Derman, who was just found guilty of $1 billion tax fraud scheme. $1 billion. That's huge. He was in some kind of polygamous cult. A lot of stuff with this guy. And then, probably the biggest thing yet, on the 12th, Dutch national charged in a takedown of obscene websites selling over 2,000 real rape and child pornography videos. Completely taken down. As you guys know, these are the things that they have been taken down like crazy. Just ripping through the pedo rings. And this, a website, 2,000 real rapes? Oh my God. But stuff like this is like when they took down Backpage. There was another one in Canada that they took down, a huge child pornography website that had tens of thousands of customers. Now, going back to the storm, you have CEOs running for the hills. I mean, here you go. Envision CEO steps down after a surprise federal review of its billing practices. Salesforce CEO just stepped down. The head of Uber Eats just stepped down. MGM Resorts CEO just stepped down. South Dakota Board of Regents CEO stepping down. South Dakota Board of Regents is the governing board for their 6 public universities. You have the Pacific Sun Eddie Bauer CEO stepping down. You have Chipotle founder Steve Ells stepping down. FedEx CFO Alan Graf retiring after 30 years as CFO and 40 years in the company. You have UPS CEO David Abney to retire after 46 years at the company. Essence CEO Michelle Ebanks unexpectedly stepping down. AT&T Ad Unit CEO Brian Lassar unexpectedly stepping down. Heineken CEO stepping down. Harley Davidson CEO stepping down. IBM CEO stepping down. MasterCard CEO stepping down. Bayer chairman unexpectedly quitting. If you remember, Bayer is who merged with Monsanto. We don't hear about Monsanto anymore. Yeah, because they've been rebranded as your friendly aspirin provider, Bayer. You have Lockheed Martin CEO Marilyn Houston, Fortune's most powerful woman in business, stepping down. Victoria's Secret goes private as CEO Les Wexner steps down. If you remember, Les Wexner had all those ties to Jeffrey Epstein, and that's the guy who sold him his mansion. You got Disney CEO Bob Iger immediately steps down from CEO position. You have Bill Gates, who steps down from Microsoft and Berkshire Hathaway's board of directors on the same day, all since the coronavirus hit the United States. Now, one thing I would like you guys to do in the comments is I'm genuinely interested to know how many people actually know someone with the virus. And, not know of someone. I mean, someone you've actually met in your life that you know has the virus right now. Well, hopefully everyone's staying safe, and hopefully none of you guys have it. But just look at how many celebrities have it. I mean, first things first, you have different celebrities that are just getting sick all of a sudden, but Celine Dion says she tested negative, but she had just suddenly come down and had to cancel things. You have Tormund from Game of Thrones comes down with the COVID-19. You have Katie Hill, the former congresswoman who had to step down after her scandal, has come down with it. In the United Kingdom, you have the health minister, Nadine Dorries, test positive for it. Also from Parliament, you have Kate Osborne was designated with the virus. Like I said before, you have people that seem to be getting out of Dodge. Nicole Kidman is suddenly relocating back to Australia. If stars like Heidi Klum all of a sudden feels ill and she has to leave. Idris Elba just came out and says that he has it. You have Prime Minister Trudeau's wife, Sophie, has just come down with it. The Miami mayor has it. All these different officials throughout the world. Different athletes have it, like Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Durant, and 3 other Nets just came down with it. And a whole slew of athletes from around the world. In the music industry, now this one's pretty big. Universal Music CEO Lucien Grange has it. And this guy is the music industry, which is one of their favorite ways to push propaganda. And music is probably top of the list. You have Iran's basically their whole freaking regime that these people have been trying to free themselves from. All of a sudden, half of them got it. Iran's vice president, 2 ministers struck by the coronavirus. You got a member of the Supreme Leader's top council that just died from it. Say altogether, 8% of Iran's parliament has tested positive for the virus. Staying in the Middle East, you got a Saudi prince's yacht that just capsized out of nowhere yesterday. And that's on the heels of 298 public officials being rounded up and arrested 2 days ago. Now, if you remember, the whole QAnon operation started where they had rounded up all these corrupt princes and higher-ups, and there was a whole overhaul of Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia, as we learned, is the epicenter of human trafficking. And this post from August of 2018 asks, who are the white rabbits? We hear about the white rabbits a lot. We're going to get to that in a minute. But as far as the celebrities go, you also have this, which happened a few weeks ago. A very strange moment where Elton John got sick with pneumonia, which is what this virus causes. So who knows? Some of these, I feel like they, especially some of the self-quarantines, I wonder if they just don't, maybe they got the message like, don't tell anyone you have it anymore, because now the people are starting to talk about it. But look at this. Now, there is a theory going around online as to why so many celebrities have been getting sick with this. If you just do the percentages, like the percentage of population that's infected as opposed to the actual population, and then do the percentage of celebrities infected as opposed to the population, and it's just through the roof. Now, if you remember early on, one of the first things that was found when people were researching the Q drops is that one of the main reasons that they traffic these kids isn't that they're all pedophiles, which we could all agree. What are the odds that they're all pedophiles? There always had to be something else. But one of the things that was found is that there seemed to be a link between organ harvesting and the drinking of adrenalized blood, which is called adrenochrome. Acts as some sort of anti-aging device. I mean, obviously it's not foolproof, but it slows the aging process down. That once you reach a certain level of stature, that you were brought in on this. And basically, going back to the Mayans and Vlad Dracul and all these different things throughout history where they would drink their enemy's blood and eat their flesh, essentially saying that is never ended. And when you think about it, there's a lot of celebrities that have basically just not aged. I mean, I know they have the best health care and there's different things that they can do with Botox and all this stuff. But I mean, my God, some of them look like they looked like in the freaking 80s. But as we've been watching over the last 3 years, they have been shutting down the pedo networks and shutting down access to kids. That's what the border's about. That's what everything is about. That's why you could see reports of, Obama has also had the cages with the kids, but then he was just letting them go. And while a lot of them were winding up in the hands of human traffickers. Oops. Because that's what the border's about. That's why the Trump administration has been separating them. Those aren't detention camps. They're saving those children's lives. We've been watching it. They've been breaking up everything one after the other, and the access has been cut off. Now, you can also synthesize adrenochrome. I would imagine it's obviously not as effective. But now take a look at something interesting that Anons had just picked up on. Look at the molecular structure of adrenochrome. Here, I'll turn it on the side. A white rabbit. Holy freaking crap. Follow the white rabbit. Now, I've had my theories in the past about the Alice in Wonderland and follow the white rabbit. And different things like that with the looking glass. But one thing that is undeniable is that Saudi Arabia was a hub for human trafficking. And if you look in this post right here, it says, "Who are the white rabbits?" But now we know a white rabbit is what the molecular structure of adrenochrome looks like. And we know that they traffic kids all over the world in insane numbers. I mean, just look at the amount of children that go missing every year. 800,000? Now, a lot of those, I'm sure, are runaways and other things. But just give it the lowest estimate. What, 200,000 are going into these traffic rings? I mean, these are insane numbers. Where's this on the freaking news every night? But follow the white rabbit. The white rabbit is adrenochrome, which comes from terrorized children. When you look up white rabbits, you come to the art of Alex Podesta. Right here's two grown men doing something with a young white rabbit. Here's one, two grown-ups again, something with a white rabbit. Here's them playing marionette with two white rabbits, grown men. This isn't weird. Here's grown men torturing two kidnapped white rabbits. Here's one where he's starting to dismember one of the young white rabbits. And here's another one. It's not a white rabbit, but here's one of his paintings where there's toes for teeth. So is that cannibalism? Person in the mouth? I mean, this is just disgusting stuff. It's not like this guy's a nobody. Here's him mentioned in the Washington Post back in 2014. Talking about echoed in sculptor Alex Podesta's sculptures, multiple self-portraits of the bearded artists in adult-sized bunny costumes. Both men's work is a little funny, a little disturbing. Yeah, no crap, a little disturbing, a little more than disturbing. And then you got Tony Podesta, John Podesta's brother, who's got a friggin' sculpture of decapitated people. Here's Jimmy Comet from Ping Pong Pizza, the guy who the whole Pizzagate thing scandal was started upon. Taking pictures of this sculpture from underneath, talking about it. Here's an artist that he admires, weird sculptures with demons and children. The hell is this, man? Here's some of his artwork. This looks like the Biltmore pool in the Vanderbilt mansion. Here's one with a kid hanging up that looks like Anderson Cooper. And obviously this is his family's mansion, which is Tony Podesta's art echoes. And they're tied up. And look, what are these ropes for? But now going back to the adrenochrome and the white rabbit, the theory that's going around online that is starting, when you look at the amount of celebrities that have suddenly come down with this coronavirus, it seems to make sense, is that the White Hats were actually able to spike a batch of adrenochrome. And if you look, where is the synthetic adrenochrome made? In Wuhan, China. Now, if you also come to this post here by Hulk Smash Tweets, he noticed an interesting thing in Tom Hanks' post about being quarantined. And here he's saying, here, me and Rita Wilson, I want to thank everyone down under who are taking such good care of us. We have COVID-19 and we're in isolations, not to spread it to anyone else. What he's talking about in this post is this barcode up here. What he's saying is that he's a 10-year Navy veteran with experience in aviation electronics, as well as collateral duty inspector for quality insurance. He's saying that he used to have to turn in calibration equipment, and as a shop supervisor, he took part in many internal audits, and that this barcode is from a government building, more than likely a military facility, and these barcodes are in every room and designate what government property is located in each room, like a desk and chair, even a lamp or a fake plan can have one of these barcodes. And he's saying that he's seen thousands of these, and this is one. So are they really quarantining themselves in Australia right now? Or is it possible that they're in Gitmo with spiking their adrenochrome, a way to see who was taking it? Is that why all of a sudden Tom Hanks is posting a picture of a Corona typewriter, as well as Madonna, who's also self-quarantining and on a typewriter called a Corona-matic? I mean, has anyone even seen a typewriter in 15 years? But there's definitely something weird about it. And there's definitely something weird about all these athletes and celebrities and high-ranking politicians coming down with this virus all inside of a week. I think it is absolutely possible that someone could have spiked their adrenochrome. And speaking of the white rabbit, if you go to Wikipedia, and you can look down here in popular culture, you'll find that Hunter S. Thompson mentions it in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Now, that's a book it says it's based on a true story. So, of course, once things start coming out, Terry Gilliam admits that it's a fictional exaggeration, and they're getting high on it, and they say it comes from Satanists and the adrenal gland. They accurately describe it. But he's saying, oh yeah, it's just fiction, whatever, okay. But Hunter S. Thompson also mentions adrenochrome in Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail 72. In the footnotes in chapter April, page 140, he says, it was sometime after midnight in a ratty hotel, and my memory of the conversation is hazed due to the massive ingestion of booze, fatback, and 40 cc's of adrenochrome. British TV show from 2008. The plot of the first episode is the harvesting of an adrenal gland from a live victim to obtain adrenochrome for drug use. And this is what it is. And A Clockwork Orange, and everyone knows, Stanley Kubrick's famous. He got himself killed by doing Eyes Wide Shut and is trying to expose these people. They have a drug called adrenochrome that's on the list of drugs they can get. And apparently in the Fear and the Walking Dead Season 3, Episode 14, during the show, Nick and Troy try a very strange drug that was described as an actual human brainstem that contained chemicals from the adrenal gland. So it's been in our face for a long time. It's actually pretty detailed in the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Well, guess what? It keeps them young. That's one of the biggest secrets. That's why the child trafficking is through the roof. That's why they've been taking down these child trafficking rings one after the other. That's why everyone has been bugging out over our president over and over. Now, one of the theories going around right now is that the White Hats had caught wind of this plot. Obviously, they're on base with everything. So if we're seeing the Event 201 that was all laid out, and I believe the reason why they had that event were to talk about because they knew they were going to crash the economy, and they all have huge businesses. And if you listen to the full thing, a lot of them are all talking about money and then, supply. Well, if that's the case, if you guys were preparing for supply, then why are you now claiming that, we have no tests and we have no this? No, because they were trying to get their ducks in a row because they knew half their companies were about to collapse in the wake of this crap that they were about to release. But the theory is that White Hats got word of it and that they spiked their adrenochrome with the coronavirus. And now they're all coming down with it. And again, that's just a theory, but man, does that make sense. And the storm is clearly upon us. Even Google has been unleashed. And, just the other day, POTUS came out and said, Google's working with us. And that must have been go time. Just look at this. Anything. The roots of pedo-gay conspiracy. That's fine. Why the red shoes? The freaking second thing that comes up is about the Red Shoe Club. And the red shoes are made from human skin. Epstein's flight logs, the Podestas, the Pope. Not fake news. Pizzagate, unfortunately, it's not fake news, but Google has been unleashed. One of the things people were posting earlier, they got ahead of it. Now, if you look up the Republican Party, it comes up Republican Party with the logo, the elephant. Now, if you look up Democratic Party, there's no logo right now temporarily. Usually the donkey would come up. But as everyone was buzzing earlier, for a little bit, a demon rat would come up. Independently verified all across the internet. Oh, man, that's great. And to boot, if you look at it closely, it actually has 13 whiskers and 4 stars, which add up to 17. This one was apparently coming up earlier where people were putting in Hillary, and it was coming up Hillary Clinton spirit cooking. Now, if you go here, that one doesn't seem to be coming up anymore. But if you type it in, it comes up all right. Look at all this stuff. Everything. Google has been unleashed. And what is spirit cooking, you ask? Well, for that, I'll bring it to one of the other celebrities that, they're going to self-quarantine. I'm telling you, I think the people who self-quarantine know that they had some of that batch. But Lady Gaga shares that she's chosen to self-quarantine as a coronavirus precaution. Well, here's a post from Lady Gaga in 2014, which at the time, I'm sure would have been like, haha, okay, vampires. But let's read it now with new eyes. Beware, vampires. The blood you choose to suck, choose wisely. It may fill your pores from the inside out with a wicked poison unknown to you. Perhaps you took a bite of flesh you can't handle. Perhaps I am also a vampire, or a new creature, undead, you have yet to meet. Well, it seems like this warning was about 6 years too early. We'll also post stuff like this. Careful, witch. I'll put a spell on you. Or maybe I already did. Now, a lot of this seems hokey. All right, witchcraft and vampires. And how else did they get away with it for so long? Because it sounds like, okay, blood magic and drinking blood and adrenochrome and all this stuff. But here's a WikiLeaks, and this is what started to blow the whole thing up. No one ever heard of Marina Abramovic or spear cooking or anything. But here is Tony Podesta, John Podesta, who is Hillary Clinton's campaign manager and worked for Clinton for all these years, getting an email from Marina Abramovic asking if John will be joining them for spirit cooking. This is spirit cooking. But this is art, apparently. I don't know if anyone's ever done art with buckets of blood with a sharp knife cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand. Eat the pain. Now I want you to think about something real quick. When is the last time you cut one of your fingers? And now ask yourself, when is the last time you specifically cut your middle left finger? Oh, well, the Pope seems to have cut his middle left finger. President Bush seems to have cut his middle left finger. Here's Meghan Markle with a Band-Aid on her middle left finger. Here's President Obama with a Band-Aid on his middle left finger. He actually has 2 times where he was caught with a Band-Aid on his specifically middle left finger. And of course, John Podesta with a Band-Aid on his middle left finger. What are the odds? This is considered art. Fresh morning urine sprinkle over nightmare dreams. What does this mean? This is witchcraft. And if it's not, whoever let her put this exhibit on needs their head examined. There's coagulated blood. This is disgusting.
No joke. He just said. We let him stand.
What is that? That's a little person. Hillary Clinton's campaign manager's brother meets with her for spirit cooking dinners. Okay? Specifically spirit cooking dinners. These are the people you almost elected to run the country. Here's her carving a pentagram into her stomach. Okay? Here's one of her earlier rituals where she, in front of a crowd of people in front of a church, lit a pentagram on fire, laid down on it as it blazed. Even it gets a little out of control here. Now, remember the exhibit Marina Abramovic had done with all the bloodied cow bones? Just looked like total carnage. Yeah, well, here's Anthony Bourdain at that exhibit, naked for some reason. Who knows why? Oh, and here he is with a fresh cut on his left middle finger.
Okay. Well, you know, our own Whoopi used to do performance art.
Yes.
Still does.
I still do.
And still does. But one of the examples of performance art that made a lot of people talk and come into the museum, and I was one of them, was a woman named Marina Abramovic. I'm thinking of the part where she had 2 nude people standing and you had to walk between these 2 totally nude people. Maybe, I don't know whether it was art, it was certainly interesting. But the other thing she did was she just sat for hours and looked at you and talked the way I'm looking at you and just stared at you, didn't say anything for hours. Why is that, Art?
Is she on medication?
Believe me, this is not easy to do. It's actually quite amazing.
She didn't go to the bathroom either.
No.
She literally sat there for 7 or 8 hours at a time for 77 days. And you'd think, okay, how could that possibly be art? And yet what she did, because she was so vulnerable and in a way so generous, is she invited people essentially to share a moment with her. And some people sat for a few minutes, other people sat for 8 hours.
Say she is. The View at least knows of her and talking about her. But I agree. That's art. Here's Beyonce with her. Here's James Franco with her. Here's Jay-Z with her. William Dafoe with her. Here's Will Ferrell at one of her spirit cooking dinners, or her Heaven's Gala, it's called. There's Gwen Stefani at the same dinner. This is a cake that was in the form of a human body that looks like it was massacred. Hey, let's take a pose with it. This is totally normal. Chris Rock with her. There's Courtney Love with her. Here's Spike Lee with her. Here's Usher with her. Nicole Richie at her dinner. Pam Anderson at that dinner. Here's Robert De Niro with her. All the people who scream the loudest. With this lady right here. And don't tell me it's art. I've been an artist my whole life. Carving pentagrams into your stomach and standing and flaming pentagrams and doing weird blood rituals is not performance art. There is something deeper here. And it all has to do with blood, which we know now they are big fans of. Follow the White Rabbit. Here's Lady Gaga being asked about Marina Abramovic. It gets so flustered that she can't even talk. Now, this is a superstar. She's a superstar. But she gets flustered with this lady. Listen.
Our next question is by Marina Abramovic in New York.
I was just speaking about her today. I am obsessed with this woman. She is so incredible.
Her question for you is, it's quite abstract. Who creates limits?
We do. We create our own limits. She is a limitless human being. She is so incredible. I went to go see her exhibit at MoMA. She is such an incredible piece of art in herself. And she is limitless. She is limitless in every way that I can even, in my limit Raven brain.
She can't even speak. What's going on with these people? Now, in contrast, here's Marina Abramovic speaking about Lady Gaga.
I'm very impressed by her because she's very determined and she has a talent and she go for it. You know, she doesn't really have the limits. She's fearless and she's free, which is very important and inspiring. I really think she was my best student.
She was my best student. What were you teaching her? Witchcraft? Well, apparently they went upstate New York and they studied together. What is going on? I mean, this is like a horror movie. This is the Abramovic method that she taught her. What is going on here? I can't watch this anymore. But then you got stuff like this. Now listen to what she says. It's laughed off like a joke, but is it?
Do you record while the bus is moving, or does it have to come to a stop?
Yeah, well, sometimes they don't want to, and they're, Gaga, we can't get, the frequency's weird, and, it's sounding a little bit strange, and I'm like, if you don't get this right now, I swear to Lucifer, I'm gonna, I get a little bit mad.
Do you have a kitchen on the bus you cook?
He doesn't even comment on it. I swear to Lucifer. Who says that? Because Lucifer is their god, quote unquote. Here they are together at another creepy event. These things are so weird.
Doch Gaga macht eine gute Figur. Nach ihrer Hüft-OP ist das hier ihr erster Auftritt in der Öffentlichkeit. Das Essen im Krankenhaus war wohl nicht sonderlich gut. Genüsslich löffelt sie Sojasauce von einem Nacktmodell. Die Popsängerin scheint voll in ihrem Element. Wie in Trance lauscht sie dem Ruf des Waldes. Wieder aus der Trance erwacht, lächelt sie mit Gastgeber Robert.
And that is this event, the 20th Annual Watermill Center Summit Benefit. And these are the type of exhibits that are there. Okay, this is what you just saw here. This is apparently honey. It's made to look like blood. Well, they say it's honey. Who knows what the frig it is. But here's an exhibit. I mean, you're drinking a blood exhibit. I mean, this is art. Here's some more people were at the event. Winona Ryder. And that exhibit at that event was Marina Abramovic's Devil's Haven. Hugh Jackman was even there. Things like this here. This is an exhibit. I mean, which brings us to this. Now, this was also in the exhibit. Now, this guy, now people believe that he was someone who was found not too long after this at the name Ryan Singleton, who was found in the Mojave Desert with his eyes, heart, lungs, kidney, and liver removed. And this looks like an older picture, but he does bear a striking resemblance. Now, this took place in New York, but that's just a theory. I don't know if there's any way you could ever actually prove that this was him. Oh, and also at this event, none other than Alex Soros. What do you know? But that's what this world is. Bill Clinton's chief of staff and Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, well, at least his brother, is going to spirit cooking dinners with Marina Abramovic. And remember her Heaven's Gala cocktail party where the menu said post-human cocktails and how to survive the mocha dinner, where there were bodies with human skeletons in the middle of the table, and where they massacred fake cakes in the shapes of human bodies, and where everyone from Will Ferrell to Kirsten Dunst to California Governor Jerry Brown to Minnie Driver to Rosanna Arquette and many more attended? Well, the centerpieces on the tables for this event were human heads. And on the menu, pasta and walnuts. Well, according to the FBI online pedophile code, pasta means little boy and walnut means person of color. Now remember how Tom Hanks and Madonna were both typing on their Corona typewriters out of nowhere a few days ago? Well, if you look at what Madonna wrote, the last line states, "I could murder a bowl of pasta." But guys, Pizzagate is totally fake, okay? Whatever you do, do not read the WikiLeaks because it's a bunch of fake crap. You know, like this one that Hillary Clinton forwarded to Huma Abedin that says, "I will be sacrificing a chicken in the backyard to Moloch." You know, Moloch, the Canaanite god associated with child sacrifice. But I'm telling you, it's fake. Jimmy Comet from Ping Pong Pizza is a totally great guy. He's just joking around when he posts pictures of babies for $1,200. Guys, it's just a joke. Or this one where he's got a kid taped to a table, hashtag Karis James. Or this one where he's got a kid and money, again, hashtag Karis James. If only there was a Caribbean island named St. James. Oh, wait, there is. It was Jeffrey Epstein's private island, Little St. James. You know, the one that Disney Cruise Lines used to take kids to? Now, here's another post by Jimmy Comet with a guy holding a kid, hashtag chicken lover. Well, a chicken lover is an adult male homosexual sexually attracted to underage males. Boy, that sure lends some context to this WikiLeaks. But come on, Jimmy Comet is a totally normal, good dude, and Pizzagate is totally fake, alright? The news told me so. Look, he was even in the White House playing ping pong with Obama. You remember Obama, the guy who keeps specifically cutting his middle left finger? Boy, if only there was something that would explain why he keeps doing that. Or how he could possibly spend $65,000 on pizza and hot dogs. Whoa, those must be some pretty expensive pizza and hot dogs. But man, if only there was something that linked all this together. But in light of what's happening, I think the theory that they spiked their adrenochrome, which comes from Wuhan, is very plausible. But now they all have the coronavirus, allegedly, and even people who don't, like Lady Gaga, are self-quarantining themselves. You know, who said, "Beware vampires, the blood you choose to suck, choose wisely. It may fill your pores from the inside out with a wicked poison unknown to you." Who's constantly doing different occult poses like this, the one eye symbolism, coupled with the lightning bolt, which comes from the Bible verse, "And Jesus beheld Satan as lightning from heaven," or in his native tongue, Barack Obama. Oh, what do we have here? Is that Ellen with an ankle bracelet? And she looks like she's panicking big time. Watch this.
Deck of cards, okay? They're all different. You can see that. I can't see them. I don't know what card is what. I'm going to pick a card. I'm going to call it out. And then I'm going to just find it, okay? 4 of hearts. 6 of hearts. It's very close. I'm going to try it 2 more times. 4 of hearts. 6 of diamonds. 1 more time. 4 of hearts. All right. Try to figure something out. That's not working.
Look at her right off the bat. She looks like she's aged 10 years in a freaking day. She seems like she's panicked. The cards all add up to 17. And then she says, try to figure something out. That's not working. All right. I think they have flipped this on its head and the storm is here. You have President Trump just tweeted on March 15 the thing we've been waiting for forever. So now it is reported that after destroying his life and the life of his wonderful family, is so freaking true, and many others, the FBI, working in conjunction with the Justice Department, has, quote, lost the records of General Michael Flynn. How convenient. I am strongly considering a full pardon. Let me see, Praying Medic. It's a great decode right here. Posted at 129 on 315, which is both when they always said watch the watch. This one's at 129, and this one is at 315. Pretty much, this is the post. People have been waiting years for this post. And I believe if he is not let off, POTUS will pardon him. But this says it all right here. The world is at war with a hidden enemy. And what is war? Moves and counter moves. And just look at all the things that have happened since they released this virus. You got POTUS calling for a payroll tax cut. The taxes fund these animals. And of course, you need some taxes to pay for roads and bridges and stuff. But if someone ever audited the Fed and saw just how little of our actual tax dollars goes towards these things, I'm sure it would blow everyone's mind. Since this has happened, hey, the borders are closed. Mexico and Canada closed their own borders. Parents are at home homeschooling their kids, so they're not getting indoctrinated by this commie garbage that's been in the schools. Abortions have been halted. You know, on average, every single day there's about 1,700 abortions. So every day that Planned Parenthood and these other places are closed, 1,700 lives are being saved. Just think about how many that'll be by the time this is over. You got stuff like this where White House confirms executive order that will end medical supply chain reliance on China. And so much has been happening that things like this are even flying under the radar. Andrew Gillum getting busted in a hotel room with meth and a gay prostitute. This is the former mayor of Tallahassee. He was almost the governor. Look how close this was. He was about 80,000 votes away from being the governor of Florida. And finally, I will leave you with this. Queen Elizabeth gets locked out of Windsor Castle in an embarrassing gaffe. Reported everywhere on March 7th, 3-7. Or, if you're in England, 7-3. Where we go one, we go all.
Drug called chloroquine, and some people would add to it hydroxychloroquine. So chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine. Now this is a common malaria drug, and it's shown very encouraging, very encouraging early results. And we're going to be able to make that drug available almost immediately. And that's where the FDA has been so great. They've gone through the approval process. It's been approved. And they did it. They took it down from many months to immediate. So we're going to be able to make that drug available